So here's what happens when you're presumed guilty with no court of law. In California, if you're guilty, uh, anyway, what is it? Presumed uh, innocent until proven guilty. But in California, apparently there's a new thing called guilty and gangstalked to death, basically. With no court of law, no trial, no jury, just presumed guilty. Oh, jeez. And the reason I'm happy is they sent a gang stalker again this morning. When I got up, I went out and stood on my little balcony, and sure enough, a guy walks by and says, "I'm glad you're already up." I'm like, I knew he was a gang stalker. And I said, "Yeah, whatever, man. Just trying to be polite." He says, "I can't hear you. I lost my hearing from shooting indoors too much." I took the meaning of that to mean, we'll come inside your house and shoot you. I'm just saying. They always send a gang stalker with the message. Okay. They always try to throw some just like the coworker who said, Reading police shoot to kill. I'm just saying. Out of nowhere, so I got this. This is what happens when you're being gang stalked. You get a notice from your employer saying separation agreement and general release of all claims. Okay, so here it is right here. It basically says, please go away. Here's some money. Here's some extra cash. Please leave. It's right here. And I'm just like, what? So then I have a dream from God. Now, here's where people get all freaked out. If I have a vision, I see an angel, or I have a dream from God, and everything comes to pass exactly as I say, but some stuff hasn't yet come to pass. And Jesus himself said, "I will fight against you with the words of my mouth." That's what Jesus says. He says, if you will not repent, I'll fight against you with the words of my mouth. He doesn't come and slap you. He doesn't threaten to shoot you. He's not going to do anything. But if he says the day is coming when, the meekest, nicest, little, sweetest lady will take her own child and stew that child in a pot and eat that child because the siege is so terrible. And it does say that in the Bible, that there's one point where it's talking about the siege is coming and the nicest, most sweetest lady will eat her own child. I'm just saying that's what it says in the Bible, and that's how bad it will get. And I believe that's a word for Babylon the Great. All these people who think they're so righteous because you have a nice car, a house, and a steady job, and you don't ever do anything wrong. Well, wait until World War III happens and there's no food, and you have a choice to either feed yourself or kill someone. I'm just saying. It's called situational righteousness. Anybody who's got resources and funding can live a righteous life. It reminds me of the kid years ago. This kid was so wealthy. His family was so wealthy that when he chose a college, instead of living in the dorms or renting an apartment, his parents bought him a house. This is how rich people live. His parents bought him a house, and over the 4 years that he was attending school, he collected rent from renters, and at the end of the 4 years, the house had gone up in value by about $100,000. So not only was he collecting rent, but he was also living rent-free and gaining capital gains. That's how it is for wealthy people. And I remember he was telling me about how he never lies and he always tells the truth. And then he used an example. He said, for example, I'm applying for this job over here at this restaurant, and in 3 months I'm going to be going on a world tour. He was going on some vacation where he was going all over the world in 3 months. And he says, I could have got the job if I had lied and told him that I was going to stay. But I told the truth. This is how righteous he is. I told the truth and told him that I have to quit in 3 months, so I didn't get hired. I'm sorry, dude, but if you were a single mom, knowing that you had another job lined up in 3 months and you had bills to pay, you might lie to get that job to get you to your next job. In other words, the point is, anybody who's got $1 million or multi-million-dollar parents with homes and wealth and stuff like that, you can tell the truth in certain situations and not get the job. And it doesn't matter to you. You're driving a brand new Ford Bronco. And he did. He had a brand new Ford Bronco. That's what rich people buy their kids, a Ford Bronco. I don't know why. The other guy I knew who was really rich, and his dad was so wealthy that one day they all hung out in the same dorm. I wasn't part of the group, but I remember one day over the weekend, the dorm was completely empty. There was a few people there, but like this group of guys who was always rowdy and noisy at the end of the hall, they were all gone. And then on Tuesday the next week, they all showed up again. And what had happened is this kid, his dad had flown in the Learjet, picked up all his friends from the dorm, from that little clique of people. They went to Los Angeles, had a big party in a mansion, and then flew back. And that kid also his parents bought him a Ford Bronco, brand new Bronco. So I guess that's what rich people buy their children. But here's the thing. I'm being gang stalked, and now they're telling me, now my employer wants me to go, which I understand. I totally understand. And I want to go too. But then last night I had a dream. And this is true. I had a dream where I saw an attorney, and he was giving me advice. He said, you sign that paperwork, and they can continue to gang stalk you. They can prevent you from ever getting another job. If they're gang stalking you the way you say they are, they can destroy your life even more. But he said if you don't sign that document and you go back to work and you do your due diligence at work, and your employer tries to fire you in some creative way, he said, in other words, basically, if I want to lose all my rights and continue to be gang stalked, I'll sign this paperwork. If I want to end up poor, broke, and homeless, I'll sign this paperwork. But in the dream, he told me, go back to work hard, do your job, don't give anybody reason to blame you for anything, continue to document everything. And he said, if the harassment continues, and I don't even know who this guy is, but he said, if the harassment continues, call us. And that was in a dream. I'm not joking. Almost like I had a consultation with an attorney. Which I never have even spoken to. I'm not joking. That really happened. The Lord is with me. God is with me. I am innocent until proven guilty, not guilty until proven innocent. I'm just saying, if I see a vision of an angel and things happen afterward, that's not my fault. It's a fact. It happened that way. I'm just saying, if I try to warn somebody who's taking advantage of people, that listen, that's the kind of thing that God, that if you rip someone off, if you rip off the poor, if you lie, listen, this has got me. I had moral issues with working at 7-Eleven back in the day because all I did was sell cigarettes and liquor all day long. People coming in to buy cigarettes and alcohol. I had a moral problem with that. I couldn't sell cars. I had a moral problem with selling cars. You know why? Because a rich person will come in and buy a car for their kid, will buy a Honda Civic for their kid, let's say. A wealthy person comes in, buys a Honda Civic for their child, and that Honda Civic, they end up buying it for $14,300. The very next day, someone comes in and buys the same exact car, same color, same transmission, same engine, same model, make, everything. Even the VIN numbers are almost identical except for the last digit is maybe two digits off. So they were literally made in the same day in the same factory, and one rolled off the factory line and then the other one rolled off the factory line. And the first one was sold to a wealthy person who was buying it for his child for $14,300, and the second one with a slightly different VIN number, same exact car, sold for $17,000 to someone who was poor and not quite as savvy. I just don't think that's right. Sell them both for $14,000 or sell them both for $17,000. But price discrimination, especially when it is advantageous to the wealthy and disadvantageous to the poor. But then you might say that wealthy person was wealthy because he knows how to deal with his finances and he knows how to negotiate a deal. Same is true. The poor person, maybe not so savvy, ends up paying more. It's just the way it is. But for me, I didn't like doing that. In the Bible, it's called differing weights. Okay? In other words, one person comes in and gets a good deal because they're your friend. Another person, they're not your friend, so you rip them off. And then when somebody tries to rip off people in their own family, and I come in and try to warn them, listen, you reap what you sow. That is not right. And then they continue to do it. As a matter of fact, instead of saying, you're right, I shouldn't do this, they do it anyway. Even though you warn them, listen, you should not be doing that. I'm just saying. You warn them before they do it, and then they do it anyway. And then afterward, you expose what they did, and then they send you. In other words, they hate you for exposing what they did. And now I'm being gang stalked basically partially because of that. And all I can say is thank God, because you just fulfilled the scriptures in my life that say, blessed are you when all men despise you and speak evil of you and exclude you on account of me, on account of God. On account of God, I'm being persecuted and discriminated against. On account of my walk with God, that my employer currently is like, please go away. We'll pay you to leave us. We will literally pay you there's thousands of dollars in this agreement here that I get. I don't work for that money, but they'll give it to me. I could sign this and get a it's basically a settlement. I'm just saying, these gang stalkers are very, very powerful. It goes all the way up to the FBI, and guess what? They know they're going to get sued, so they're getting mad, and they're sending more gang stalkers. And listen, I'm innocent until proven guilty. That's another violation. Lack of due process. And I already have the proof that I need to win in court. And I'm going to make them squirm. I'm just saying. They owe me probably about $2.5 million as far as I'm concerned. At least. Plus plus attorney's fees. I'm just saying. So, I mean, the only advice I can take is the advice that I got from that dream. And I really did see this in a dream. He really did come to me and say, listen, God sent basically an angelic visitation of an attorney. Here's how powerful they are. I called Office Depot the other day, and by the time I got there, there was a police officer and because I was going to print out legal documentation. Right here. Time I got there, there was a Reading police and a fire marshal parked right there. I know they were there gang stalking me. Okay. When do you go somewhere and there's a fire marshal and I'm just saying. And then I pulled up in my car. I wanted to roll down the window and say, "Hey guys, what's up? You know, I'm right here," and ask them, "What is due process? What is innocent until proven guilty?" I'm just saying. People think I don't know what people think, honestly. I mean, but the stuff, whatever they think about me, must be pretty seriously bad. But I can tell you, most assuredly, they're all wrong, and they're gonna get they're gonna get their ass handed to them in court. That's what I'm saying. Fuck. I don't even want the money. I just want people to leave me alone. Just leave me alone. Let me buy a gun again. I had an AK and an AR and a I had all sorts of firepower that I never used in any illegal way, that I gave up intentionally. You know, I shouldn't have given it up. I should have held on to my guns. You know, but the state, in a sense, the state took them from me. And now, last time I went to go buy a gun, they sent a gang stalker to basically tell me they'll home invasion spree me and take the gun. Or they've been coming into my apartment whenever I'm not home and damaging my stuff. Usually, and I've mentioned this before in other videos, usually they'll do something that's symbolic. They're not like ransacking the place. But basically, the lady made it clear that if I have a shotgun, they're going to come into my place and take it. And I wanted that shotgun too. Mostly, I'm not too into guns, but I wanted it in order to protect myself when World War III happens. I mean, shoot, what are you going to do? It's World War III. Oh, also, did you notice in the news that Saudi Arabia had last night, I believe it was, some big fire at some oil refinery, and then 2 days ago there was a derailment here in the United States. Uh, I think it was in Iowa or somewhere. Anyway, a train got derailed. There was a big fire. Anyway, I think both. I think both. This is just my opinion, but I think Iran is behind both of those, and or the deep state for the derailment here in the United States. And those of you who think World War III is not going to happen, I don't know. I'm starting to think it's not going to happen either. But that's when it happens. That's when prophecy happens. When you finally give up and say, "I don't think this is going to happen anyway," and then you forget about it, and then it happens. That way nobody can say you caused it to happen. I'm just saying. Or even you yourself. Like, I'm just saying, when prophecy happens, usually it has to go dormant. That's why it's usually 3 to 5 years at least before prophecy comes to pass. And usually more than that, 7 to 10 years. And some people gave prophecies by the Holy Spirit that they never saw come to pass. Anyway, so praise God, Jesus is Lord. I wouldn't be surprised if my employer finds some sneaky, tricky way to fire me or to put me in a situation where I end up losing my job, and they have some sort of due reason to let me go. In which case, I wouldn't even get the little bit of money they're offering in this document. So I'm saying that in advance because if I do get fired from my job, I guess basically, I got nothing. I mean, if I sign this, they're going to continue to gang stalk me. If I don't sign this, there's a potential that I can put all of this under my feet and destroy them completely in court. And not just a potential, it's 100% guarantee. And next time I need any advice, I'm pretty sure that, because the Lord told me He's going to be my attorney and He's going to reveal to me everything I need to do. And partly one reason I'm putting these YouTube videos up is if you look at my YouTube videos, you can determine exactly when I finally realized I was being followed. Then you can determine when I finally found the term gang stalking, which has been, I mean, these people have been investigating me and following me for a really long time. I'd like to know when it started, and if I can, I'm going to turn the county against the FBI, because if the FBI is involved ever since it has anything to do with setting me up with Andrea from Montana, if the FBI had any, and when I look at everything that happened with her, I'm thinking they did. And so it goes way back, and they totally got into my personal private life. And if you look at how I was living back then and compare that with how I'm living now, and I get to testify on my own behalf on everything, that's what due process is. Now, I know when I talk due process, that's criminal, but I'm talking about it in terms of a tort or civil case. So in a sense, the term due process is me demanding that. I'm just saying. So the gang stalking has increased. This all of a sudden shows up as soon as, now here's the other thing. They know they're going to watch this video. They know my thoughts. Like if I'm driving somewhere, I'm pretty sure they've microphoned up the vehicle that I drive in, which is owned by the company that I work for. So the company I work for has me mic'd up. Okay, just saying. I mean, hello, is that, I don't know. I don't know what the legal ramifications for that. Maybe that's why they should have added 20,000. They should have added $100,000 to this contract. It would have been signed already. Anyway, but I want the gang stalking to stop. So even like at a much larger amount on this paperwork, I still wouldn't accept it. I want to get to the bottom of, I want to identify my accusers. I want to identify exactly when they started following me and watching me. And then I want to see the documentation that they have. I'm just saying. They know I'll win in court. This is why they're freaking out. This is why they're hating me even more than ever. And in some ways, ever since I started talking to myself about filing a lawsuit, they heard it. In other words, if I go and talk to an attorney right now, they'll know who that attorney is, and they might do something, shady. They've been shady about my life. They're totally not abiding by the law as far as due process of the law. If it's due process to gang stalk and harass someone just because you think they're guilty without a trial, I'm just saying. No, I want a 12-panel jury to give me an answer. I want a judge. I'm just saying. I want to be able to file an injunction and file a motion and whatever these bitches want me to do. I'm going to do it. I'm going to learn how to do it, and we're going to do it. And I have God on my side. Remember, God is on my side. That's why this guy who threatened, basically talking about this morning, talking about, I can hardly hear you because I've done so much shooting. I'm the type of guy who likes to shoot things up indoors too. He didn't say that. He said, anyway, the point is, if they're gonna send people to stand there and tell me that they like shooting, and I don't even have a gun, okay? And what if I did have one? It'd be assault shooter for bug assault. Come into my apartment, I'm gonna shoot you in the eyes with salt. Get that. Meanwhile, you guys got AK-47 or ARs and 9mm pistols and shotguns and helicopters. That's the other thing. Helicopters flying over my house. You go, Sonny boy, you can't prove anything on that. That's all just here saying nonsense. Yeah, but the stuff that I can prove. How about I put everybody in the whole community under oath until I find the few people who actually believe that when they put their hand on the Bible, they better tell the truth, and we get to the source, not with any other source than people in the community testifying. I'm just saying, I would probably win, and that's I would probably win even with just that. Only the good people who, when they realize they're in a court of law and they can't just tell a fib. I'm just saying. Now it's a felony. You have to tell the truth. If you lie and we can prove it, it's a felony. and even more, if you have any faith in God, you just put your hand on a Bible. And I'll plan on telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God, in the name of Jesus, with my hand. I'm gonna have the Bible. I'm gonna have the Bible on the desk while I'm being cross-examined. I'm gonna be holding it in my hand. You can't see it says Holy Bible on it. Anyway, who knows what's going to happen, but I just want to find out who these people are and when they started. Because I bet you if that's revealed to a 12-panel jury, the whole jury's going to sit there going, oh. And right then, everybody in the courtroom is going to be like, they better just settle. I'm talking about the FBI. I'm talking about turning the state police against the FBI, saying, I'm suing you or the FBI. Which one do you want it to be? Any of the attorneys watching this, we're going to know that I received counsel from the Lord. And I already know I'm going to win. And I'm not revealing what my aces are. I got 4 aces. One of them's a king. The king of kings. That's right. God on my side. I got probably 4 kings in my... I think I got 4 aces. A king and a queen. Anyway.